All right. Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Every day or tomorrow on the show, we will continue to go through June as a college football fan and looking for stuff to talk about Ole Miss football because our thing is Ole Miss every day. That is our whole model. And we definitely want to thank you for making us the Ole Miss morning show. Waking up with us, it is a pretty cool thing. Thank you. Our guests are going to change. It's going to be a little bit different than you might be used to. You're going to see our guests have separate videos. The videos that we've been releasing at 7 o'clock at night, which has usually been them, we're not going to duplicate them as much from the show. We're going to have our standard guests for our nightly features, and we're also going to have guests that we bring in from the show outside of them. It's a way to increase our perspectives, increase the content variance, and make this a little bit more enjoyable for you. We're working on getting Walker Jones to talk about the Growth Collective right now. We're trying to get that. It's this summer. We should try and get it and get an update on where the collective sits and things like that. So far, he said he would do it. We just haven't set up a time and actually been able to do it. So we'll see exactly what happens there. Anyway, Brian Smith, the resident Locked On recruiting guru, broke down, he was nice enough to do that, Travaris Banks, the defensive back from Northridge High School in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And he was very complimentary of him, but here we go.
How good is Travaris Banks, and what does it mean for the Ole Miss Rebels? Here's my take on the newest commitment for Ole Miss's 2024 recruiting class, starting with the following. He's a thumper. At 6'2" and about 200 pounds, he's played linebacker, outside linebacker, he's played safety, he's played edge, and he's even played corner. No matter what he's done, Banks has always lit up the guy in front of him. He is a hitter. Now, Ole Miss certainly needs defensive talent, but which position is he going to play? Safety is what he's listed as. I just call him a football player. I'm going to share my screen, going to talk a little bit about his film, and most importantly, kind of look at what he can do for Ole Miss and their scheme, or changing schemes as it may be, with the evolving schemes that come on the offensive side of the ball. Teams are always having to adjust. So let's break it down a little bit here. This is not a player that you're going to be disappointed in watching. That I can guarantee you. So this young man's speed is obvious. And most importantly, this young man's ability to hit is obvious. Every play that you see on here is going to be the same kind of deal. See ball, get to ball, kill ball. Took a risk there, but that speed allowed him to shoot the gap. I like it when kids try to make plays at the high school level like that. He's the best player on the field. He should be able to go underneath and make that play. Here's a good example of him in space, though. Playing corner, this receiver does a terrible job of trying to stop him, so he takes advantage. He does what he should. Banks causes a fumble. If you're an impact defender, those are the kind of plays you got to take advantage of. On this one, he's also out wide. This is more or less a shotgun version of the wing T here, as far as I'm concerned. And the running play is poorly blocked, and he does what he should. Again, when they give you an opportunity, you lay the wood. Banks is a kid that does that play after play. At free safety, there wasn't as much film of him, so this play is important. Note how he is natural at timing it up. The ball was a little underthrown, but he was ready regardless. If he can play free safety anywhere near as well as what Banks does in the box, he could be an early contributor for Ole Miss and probably could even be a starter by his sophomore year. This one's interesting because he's a linebacker. Terrible job with the block, and he makes the guy pay. If you come soft against Banks, he makes you pay every single time. Here's an example of him just reading the play, doesn't let the guy get outside, shoots in, makes a play. This one, he's outside again, playing corner. His high school coaches put a lot on his plate from a schematic standpoint. That's also a good sign for his future as a Rebel. Nice job with getting underneath, breaking up the pass. Here he is down, playing essentially an outside linebacker role, drops into coverage. He covered more than one guy on that by reading the quarterback's eyes. Last play I'll show, this one right here in coverage, doesn't take the bait, double move, doesn't work, plays defense the way he should in a scheme fashion. Banks is a great football player. He's from the Tuscaloosa area. Ironic, Alabama did offer him. It's an offer that meant a lot, but he still decided on Ole Miss. He committed on June 18th. This is not a small deal. Ole Miss needs defensive help. This is the kind of kid they need. Physicality, speed, versatility, the ability to impact the game from multiple levels and from play to play. There aren't a lot of guys like this, so it's a big pickup for Lane Kiffin and the Rebels. I like this guy, and I think he's going to play really early in Oxford.
That is Brian Smith, the Florida football scout, on YouTube. You want to follow his podcast? There's a lot of Miami stuff. There's a lot of extra stuff. He does do some things for me and breakdowns and stuff like this. And you guys love it. I get comments all the time about what it looks like. So I do want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Really, really good show. I got to compare Tua to an Ole Miss story angle, and I do love talking about Tua. We also talked about the canary in the coal mine, which is Caden Prieskorn. If he has a good year, Ole Miss's offense is having a good year. If he kind of disappears, the offense probably isn't what we thought it was going to be or what it could be. So it'll be interesting to see there. And it was a way for me to talk about an offensive player to watch and it not be a quarterback. I do want to thank everybody for that one because they said, hey, Steve, could you not talk about quarterbacks? There you go. Although technically right now I'm probably talking about quarterbacks and there was a segment on Austin Simmons. So I just talk about quarterbacks. I guess that's what I do. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning into the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Every day is tomorrow. We'll continue our June slog of coverage as well. It's Ole Miss every day, your team every day.